Hey there, welcome to Synth Seeker. My name's Luke. So, it's been almost a week, maybe exactly a week, since the last music making diary. My wife and I spent the weekend at the Mount Washington Hotel, thanks to my lovely employer who sends us there periodically. So, I didn't get a whole lot done. I did take the music making sort of setup, but honestly, we just sort of slept and lounged and, foot massaged and good food and things like that. So I didn't get a lot done. But, well, upon coming home, I started working again. This week's exercise was just to continue going through those sort of stream of consciousness clips that I had. We had 3 clips that I did that were just sort of noodling. That was this sort of synth oriented. Right, that was that's just like a Rhodes Chroma Polaris sort of brassy synth. I just played, captured that in Ableton using the capture mechanism, and then I did the same thing with an electric piano. And a bass guitar. Right? And basically, I just noodled. I found sounds that I liked, and I picked a key and a scale. I'm mostly in E minor, E Dorian. A couple of these were sort of floated over into E major. And I just played and captured it, right? And I used the capture functionality in Ableton because when I hit record, I tense up and, the adrenaline kicks in. Anyway, this week's exercise, go watch Diary 1 and Diary 2, and I explain how all that works. But basically, this week for Diary 3, the exercise was to finish going through those sort of noodled, captured clips and pull out musical ideas. And so what I'm going to do today is this is going to be a quick 10-minute sort of diary. I'm just going to go through and share with you the basic clips that I generated out of that. I'm going to show them to you in isolation. And then what I did is I went back through and worked them around to see which ones would fit together in ways that I found musically entertaining. And those are going to be the foundation, like the clips that I played in Diary 1 and 2 for this song. These are going to be more foundational ideas for this song. All right. So with that in mind, let's see, where were we? I think we stopped with this. Let me just play this really quick. Yeah. All right, so that was the end of Diary 2. All right, so that means Diary 3, what we were pulling out is, from a synth perspective, I pulled out this little segment. Most of these are 2, 4, or 8 bar clips. Right? All right. So, repetition legitimizes, right? So when I would find a little segment of that clip I liked, I'd pull that, loop it, and that becomes something interesting. Now I took that was our synth part, our E-piano part that I found that sort of fits over this. Now these were not over each other previously, but I've sort of fit them together. This one's doing this. Play those together, that's what we get. And then adding a bass line in there. All right, so I'm not going to exhaustively loop these clips, just giving you tastes of the ideas that I'm pulling out of this, all right? And it really comes down to, these were all made in isolation. I did not plan to have these together. But I did work them, I noodled in the same key. And then when I started layering them together, I would adjust a few notes. If there was anything that was too dissonant, I would adjust them a little bit to fit. And that's how we got the next segment. So there was that. As we keep going, I dug out this. Again, E minor. And that's a duplication, right? So two bar loops. All right. And And then let's see, and this E piano part. I like this rising sort of behavior. And then we repeat that with some of the noodles over top of it. Sort of left and right hand action. All right. So when we lay that on top of the synth part, we get. So like this C sharp here, that's, I'm not going to say dissonant, we'll say spicy. And that may or may not live there. And I needed a bass line for this. And since the E piano part, this low, I like that as a foundation. So I just repeated it in the bass and then had the bass just arpeggiate octaves. So it's all right, so that's our next segment that came out of our noodling there. That'll be fun, a little rising there. Some sort of chugging is going to happen. I don't know. That's where we break out the two Von throat singers, maybe. I don't know. Moving on, our next bit that I pulled out of the synth part was. Now, when my stuff tends to be busy. Right, I got a lot of stuff going on, and I do like to hold out notes. And then when I'm holding these bits out, right, this D being held out, right, that's an opportunity to have the other instruments do some sort of counter melody, counterpoint thing there, and that's what's happening. So with our bass here, the bass is real busy, so we're going to end up letting that note ring and play the bass over it. So. Get this going here. Selections, there we go. So I'm not super happy with that, and I think it's too busy. We'll see what happens with that. Now, I also had this E piano part, similarly busy, but with more held notes. Right, and I had again a bass part that was a little less busy. We've got some held notes and then some runs, and when these two lay on top of each other, we got this here. So that works better for me. And so what I may end up doing is taking this synth part and this E piano part, and I ended up layering those two on top of each other. All right. But at that point, the bass line would be just way too busy. So if we just listen to these here. Whoops. And so I want to put a bass under that, but it needs to be much simpler. So I'm just going to play some sort of foundational octave runs here. And this ends up being like, let's sounding like this. So we'll see where that goes. All right. And really, that's what I've pulled out of this. I've got another little bass part here I'm not sure what to do with, but I'll just play it for you. All right, so I don't know. We'll fit that in there somewhere. But the upshot is I'm done with extraction. Okay, so this is week 3. I've pulled out all the bits out of these noodles that I want to play with. I've got them in these shapes. And now what I'm going to start doing is going through these sort of scenes. I've got these scenes that are mostly harmonically sitting on E, riffing on E. And I'm going to start moving around and seeing which of these sound good when I start transposing them out away from E into other chords, and then start piecing those together. So that's sort of the next step. So we did sort of pattern generation and sort of groove and riff generation for scenes. So I've got how many here? I've got about 10 scenes worth of stuff here, which is more than enough to do a song. Like if I was doing a pop song, I'd need like 4, right? So we're doing this proggy piece, so we're going to sort of go a little longer. So I guess to sum up, I'm just going to let me just play the most recent clips, and that's about it. Okay, so let's take a listen. This is the last scene from week 2. Do for now. So that's good. And this is about the right speed for me. After pulling all these out, I'm starting to get a little like bored. I'm like, all right, so let's start playing more with this. Let's start, working on chord progressions that are interesting, right? I want, every 8 bars, every 8 or 16 bars, I want something new to surprise the listener, ideally. And I've got enough basic pattern changes to keep it interesting. But even then, now it comes time to harmonically surprise the listener. And so as I work on doing transposition and playing with different chords for these patterns, and I'll start thinking as well about melody to a degree. Some of these clips have definitely have a melody starting to develop, less noodling and more intentional melody. So we'll see how that goes. So I'll work on this a bit this week. I am getting 2 crowns and a root canal on Friday, which sucks, but that's my own fault. So I don't know how much I'm going to get done this weekend, but we'll see where it goes. And that's about it. So this is diary number 3. I hope this was interesting, or at least a little bit entertaining for you. And we'll keep rolling forward. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments. put your comments in the comments. Please allow myself to introduce myself, as Austin Powers would say. And really, thanks for spending time with me. All right. I will talk to you later. You have been watching Synth Seeker. Have a great day.